Hisuian-Zoroark is firmly better than regular Zoroark competitively. But why? Both Pokemon are famous because of their illusion ability, tricking the opponent and causing dangerous mind games. Both Pokemon are glass cannons. They have high speed and power but low defenses. Both Pokemon have a diverse move pool and are hard to predict. So why is one much better than the other? Let's take a look. First of all, let's look at their stats. This is not the most important part, but is worth talking about. They're highly offensive Pokemon with similar move pools, and their build is very clear. They want to get large amounts of damage on you while trying to stay unpredictable with illusion. Both forms are almost identical, but there are slight changes that are better for the Hisuian form. Notably, the Hisuian form has higher special attack and speed. Speed is often the most important stat for offensive Pokemon because if they can outspeed and knock you out, then they don't have to care about their low defenses. In this situation, having more speed is a slight advantage. Specifically in OU, Hisuian-Zoroark's extra 5 speed let it outspeed Walking Wake, Iron Treads, and Pawmot. The Zoroark forms can either go physical or special, and they both have an extensive move pool on both sides with Swords Dance and Nasty Plot. For example, they both have low kick to hit King Gambit. Regular Zoroark has slightly more flexibility with its higher attack stat, and it can go physical knockoff or special more easily. It's relatively negligible though. Hisuian-Zoroark is more dedicated as a special attacker, with the option to go mixed for specific targets like the King Gambit we mentioned earlier. This is neither a demerit nor a positive, just a difference to be noted. Zoroark often goes special anyway because it's a higher stat, and Hisuian-Zoroark has a higher damage peak than its regular form. Overall, a slight edge to Hisuian-Zoroark in the stats department. But the main difference that causes a difference is the typing. Normal Ghost is much better than Pure Dark, both offensively and defensively. Defensively, Normal Ghost gives the Hisuian form 3 immunities to relatively common attacking types. Immunities are massive for offensive Pokemon because it creates more situations where they don't have to worry about their low defense. Immunities make an offensive Pokemon more challenging to take down and also makes them easier to switch in. Oftentimes, it can be frustrating to try and get an offensive Pokemon in the game safely, which is part of the reason why moves like U-Turn are so popular. But anytime you can skip that middleman and switch in a Pokemon directly and then outspeed and threaten to knock out a Pokemon, that's incredibly high value. There are plenty of common normal and ghost type moves in the meta too, like Dragapult and Golden Ghost Shadow Ball or Great Tusk's Rapid Spin. Hisuian-Zoroark also has only one type weakness in Dark. Similar to immunities, any benefit you get from your defensive typing patches up your low defense. Unfortunately, on the other hand, regular Zoroark's Mono Dark isn't good defensively. It only has an immunity to Psychic and is weak to common attacking types like U-Turn, Fairy, and Fighting. Regular Zoro is a lot tougher to actually get into the game. However, all this being said, if a Pokemon has a high enough payoff offensively, then maybe you do put in the effort to find ways to get it into attacking position. It may be tougher to do, but if it's worth it, then you could dedicate more resources into enabling your high payoff Pokemon. For example, if Deoxys Attack was allowed, you wouldn't refuse to use it because it had low defenses and a bad defensive typing. You would do whatever it takes to make it work. Unfortunately, Zoroark does not have that high payoff. If anything, Hisuian-Zoroark is actually better offensively anyway. Mono Dark simply isn't good enough. Stab Dark is very notable because it gives you a stab boost on very valuable moves like Knock Off and Sucker Punch, but it needs to be paired with a good dual stab too, like Weavile's Ice or Kingambit's Steel. Mono Dark on its own has no way to get past common fighting and fairy type Pokemon. Zoroark has Psychic and Sludge Bomb respectively, but non-stab boosted means it lacks the power to actually break through threats. There are so many things that need to go right, and you become very prediction reliant on moves that are under 100 base power. A good comparison is Darkrai in Generation 7 Ubers. Darkrai is a glass cannon with a good move pool too. And while Darkrai was good in Generation 6 Ubers when it had a broken move in Dark Void, it became a C-tier threat in Gen 7 and 8 without it. Generally speaking, most good offensive Pokemon are dual-type Pokemon because having 2 types of stab moves is a huge advantage. In that regard, Hisuian-Zoroark does have that dual stab combination, with Normal and Ghost being able to at least hit most Pokemon neutrally. Simply having 2 stab moves already give it an edge, but Normal and Ghost synergize well enough, with Ghost being able to hit Ghost-type Pokemon who would ordinarily try and wall the Normal type. The typing is massive, and H-Zoroark is better defensively and offensively. It also shows up in a deadly way when talking about Illusion. To be clear, Illusion can be difficult to effectively use in practice. Any sort of damage, even from Stealth Rock, can be a giveaway that you're using Zoroark, but in the right hands, it can cause punishing mind games. Both forms of Zoroark have Illusion, but H-Zoroark takes advantage of it better. When an opponent faces a Pokemon that may or may not be Zoroark, they have to either commit to defending against one of the potential Pokemon or find a middle ground that deals with both. This is why in the past we've seen cores like regular Zoroark and Toxicroak because it's hard to react to the combination of Dark and Poison. Because H Zoroark's typing is better, there's more Pokemon that it can combo with, and there are less Pokemon that can effectively mid-ground versus those combos. As a thought example, imagine a Zoroark masquerading as a dual stab Pokemon. Mid-grounding versus that means you would have to have a Pokemon that could take on 4 different types. Zoroark can only combo with its Dark type, but Hisuian-Zoroark can combo with either its normal or Ghost type. For example, Iron Valiant forms a good core. Offensively, if you try and switch a Ghost type in to deal with an Iron Valiant fighting type move, you may get hit by the Ghost type Hisuian-Zoroark. Similarly, if you try to outspeed the Iron Valiant / Hisuian-Zoroark, there are some deadly decisions to make. If you use a Dark type move expecting Hisuian-Zoroark, you may just hit into Iron Valiant. If your team relies on Dragapult for speed control, then you have an uncomfortable decision between using Draco Meteor or Shadow Ball versus the illusion. These are ideal situations where we assume the opponent cannot deduce the illusion, but it shows the power illusion can have on a game. The stats, illusion, and most importantly the typing are the main reasons why Hisuian-Zoroark is a better form. What's your favorite Hisuian-Zoroark moveset? Let me know down below.